If you're worried that heavy deadlifts are going to bother your back, here are 3 variations to help you lighten the load and still complete a deadlift pattern. All right, so the first one is a single leg deadlift. And so you could use a dumbbell or a kettlebell. You want the bell to stay in the same side hand. So whatever leg goes back, you want the bell to be in that hand, the bell, the dumbbell. So you'll plant one foot beside the bell. You're gonna hinge back, keep your hips pointed at the ground, try not to open your hips up. So you take that opposite hip. If my right leg's gonna go back, it can be helpful. Make sure your right hip is pointed at your planted foot. So you're gonna let that come back. From there, you'll engage, bring it all the way back up. And then from there, we're gonna take it all the way back to the ground. And you'd wanna make sure that you're lifting, you're deadlifting every single rep. So your second rep, you're back down, you're deadlifting it off the ground. So if balance becomes an issue with a single leg deadlift, you can also use a kickstand deadlift, which is just a variation, and it pulls the balance out of the equation. So from there, you'll stand on the side of the kettlebell or the dumbbell, and instead of letting that other leg come completely back, we're gonna use that as our kickstand. And so I'm gonna put the toe of that back foot and try to bring it as close as possible to the front leg. Now the goal of this is to try to pick that bell up off the ground, keeping my front leg as straight as possible. So in order to do that, I have to hinge my hips backwards. So it maintains the hinge pattern. So with this, I'm gonna push my hips backwards, I'll come down, engage, bring it all the way back up, and I can take it all the way back down to the floor, keeping pressure on my abs, using your glutes and your hamstrings. So again, from here, you're pushing your hips backwards to try to keep that leg as straight as possible. That back leg is toe down, the heels up, pushing into it, bringing it all the way back up, and pushing your hips back to return it to the floor. The third variation is a wall-assisted deadlift. You're gonna put one foot back on the wall, dumbbell or kettlebell is gonna go in the same side hand. So I'm gonna put that foot against the wall, and I'm pushing into the wall with this leg. You wanna make sure that when you set up that your knees are even. So you don't want, if you're too close to the wall and that bent knee is sticking out in front, you're not set up real well. So you wanna get it so that your knees are still even before you get set. And you're actively pushing this leg into the wall. And you're gonna hinge backward to pick this up. Typically this is done for high reps. So you can do higher reps with this exercise. You're not gonna wanna use a lot of weight in this, and this is really gonna set the glute in that straight leg, or like your planted foot is really gonna burn with this one. But you do 10 to 15 reps on one side, then you do 10 to 15 reps on the other side. You do not need a heavy weight for that exercise. So that gives you 3 deadlift variations that allow you to lighten the load.